the systems that sustain it, and the path forward. If Part 1 explored the forces fueling the revival of white supremacist ideology, Part 2 examines the structures that allow it to endure and what it will take to confront it. Experts argue that white supremacist ideas persist not only through extremist groups, but also through systems shaped by historical inequality. Policies around housing, education, criminal justice, and voting access still reflect patterns created decades ago. These systems don't require explicit racism to produce unequal outcomes. The structure itself does the work. When people see these disparities but don't understand their origins, it becomes easier for extremist narratives to take hold. Some groups claim that efforts toward racial equity are unfair or anti-white, reframing equality as a threat. This rhetorical shift is one of the most powerful tools in the modern revival of white supremacy. Education plays a major role. Debates over how to teach American history, especially topics like slavery, segregation, and civil rights, have become flashpoints. Some activists argue that avoiding these topics creates a vacuum where misinformation thrives. Without historical context, people are more vulnerable to narratives that distort the past and justify inequality. Media ecosystems also shape public perception. When people live in separate information bubbles, they develop separate realities. Extremist groups exploit these divides, pushing narratives that portray diversity as dangerous and multiculturalism as a threat. The more isolated people become, the easier it is for extremist ideas to spread. Yet the story doesn't end with division. Across the country, communities are pushing back through education, dialogue, civic engagement, and grassroots organizing. Scholars emphasize that confronting white supremacy requires more than condemning extremist groups. It requires addressing the underlying fears, inequalities, and misinformation that allow these ideas to grow. This means investing in accurate education, strengthening democratic participation, and building spaces where people can understand one another across differences. It means recognizing that America's diversity is not a threat, it's a strength. And it means acknowledging that the fight against white supremacy is not just a moral struggle, but a civic responsibility. America's story has always been shaped by a tension between its highest ideals and its deepest contradictions. The revival of white supremacist ideology is a reminder that progress is not guaranteed. It must be protected, renewed, and defended by each generation. Understanding the roots of this revival and the systems that sustain it is the first step toward building an America that truly lives up to its promise.